Yes.
You went for a run yesterday. How was it?
For a little run.
How was your run, sir?
It was good. Did a marathon yesterday.
What's the background behind that? Like, why did you do a marathon yesterday? Tell people who don't know the story what the background is.
Okay, so New Year's resolution time. Vacation with my family. We decided to write down 3 New Year's resolutions, just goals we wanted to accomplish. I wrote down run a marathon. So the end of January, we signed up for one. Me and a couple other people signed up for one. And then, of course, with COVID-19, they had to cancel that event. And I'd already done so much training with it, and of course bought so much cool gear.
Of course you had to get the kit.
And it was in my mind. It's a lifelong goal of mine to run a marathon. And so I kept thinking, if I don't do it now, after I've done the training, then
and you rode a marathon as part of that training as well.
I did. I rode a marathon on the rower. That really helped me with a lot of the mental preparation, just dealing with pacing and dealing with the mental challenge of just finishing it. So yesterday I did an 11K loop around my house, so each lap I was able to visit my house and restock up on electrolytes, like water. I was carrying a hydration pack. I ate a bunch of bananas. Actually had frozen bananas too, which was nice.
Frozen bananas?
Frozen bananas.
I've never heard about that. Talk about that for a second.
So at my house, like when the bananas get a little brown, we just chuck them in the freezer.
Yeah.
And it's like a popsicle.
Really?
Yeah. So we had frozen bananas, and then I had regular like unfrozen regular bananas.
Are they called unfrozen bananas?
Unfrozen bananas, yeah. So I was able to kind of restock, use the toilet if I needed to, and then went back out. It was a really, really hilly course. So the first lap I ran the whole thing, and the other 3 laps, I usually walked up the hill to save myself a little bit.
Fantastic.
To be honest, like after the second lap, after 22K, I was really done. Like I really wanted to quit. I thought my body was like, you're done. But to be honest with you, I just can't live with myself if I quit something.
Yeah,
even if it takes longer than what it would take somebody else. I teach my kids, we don't quit. McTags don't quit. My last name being McTag, we don't quit. So I wanted them to know, because I knew as soon as I would come home, they'd be like, oh, are you done? And I wanted to be able to tell them, yes, I'm done.
Keep going with that for a second, Cory. That's actually, I want you to come into this because it's a big thing for me on marathons. Not that the sheer physical side of the marathon is an incredibly impressive feat. And I think anyone who does it, I always get my respect. But for me, the mental side is almost more impressive. Yeah. And that's what's most impressive to me about 2 things for you. Number 1, the fact that you did a marathon, but number 2, you did a marathon on your own. So do you want to jump back to around that 22K mark again? Just talk about what has started happening in your mind, because I think this is where people can learn from this. What was going on in your mind and how you kind of, frankly, dragged yourself through it.
So if we go back 1 lap before that, I finished 11K. The longest I ever ran in preparation was 11K, which is probably a mistake. I should have tried to run a little bit longer. So after the first 11K, I was feeling great. I actually felt like I just warmed up, which is a good place to be.
Solid warm-up.
I never went out too fast.
Brilliant.
I listened to the same soundtrack to give myself the same pacing. After the second one, my body just felt like it was empty of energy. And honestly, all I had left was basically what it came down to is, am I okay with never doing a marathon? Am I okay with never completing one?
Yes.
Because to have a goal, you don't know what kind of pain you have to endure to actually achieve that goal. You can watch the YouTube videos, you can talk to different people in the gym who have run a marathon, you can ask them what their time was, they can talk about how much it hurt, but everybody's a little different. So So that was the question I asked myself. Do I ever want to complete a marathon in my life? And the answer says, yes, I really do. And the fact is, I was halfway done. And so I think I kept telling myself as well, in CrossFit we have chippers. Chipper being a really long workout that takes a long time to finish, a lot of reps. Something like Murph as well is a long workout, 45 minutes to an hour. It's painful. And I think one thing that CrossFit's taught me is pacing. Don't go out too fast, but also do the best you can do. I think comparison can be something that really stops people from trying something that they've always wanted to try. And I knew my time was going to be...
That's brilliant. I need to interrupt you for a second there. That's brilliant. That's worth emphasizing. Comparison stops people from doing things that they really want to try.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic point to make. It's always compare yourself to yourself. It's a really great way. Sorry to interrupt you, but I thought that was really worth emphasizing.
Yeah.
Carry on, you were saying you knew your time?
I knew my time was going to be really long. The course, because it was an unsupported race, I had to come back by my house each and every time in order for me to finish it, to restock on my fluids and the food, energy. And I knew that course was going to be hilly, and I knew it was going to suck. So the time may have been a little bit longer there, and that's not an excuse. That's just, it is what it is. I mean, even the pros talk about a hilly course, they're going to have longer times.
There's a reason I didn't ask you about your time though, because I was focused on the sheer fact that one, you did it, and two, the mental side of things. I actually don't know your time, and I couldn't, without trying to sound bad, I couldn't care less.
Sure.
It's the, did you work your ass off? Yes, you did.
I did.
And also for me, obviously, I wanted to make sure you were doing what you do now, which is recovering.
That's right. So, but the thing is that those are one of the mental battles that you go through when you're doing it. I think sometimes it's easy to quit when you can tell, I'm not going to make a target time, or I'm not going to finish in a time that may bring respect from other people. What was your first marathon time? And of course, this is probably going to be my only marathon time. But
the second one this year.
Yeah, that's right. And so, the 22K mark, it was, do you want to finish this goal or not? How bad are you going to feel if you don't do this? Is it worth the physical suffering? Like, you either have the physical suffering on one side that you have to endure, or you have the mental suffering of regret that you have to endure if you don't finish it. And I'm like, suck it up, Sally. Go get some more water. Use the restroom. Where I start, it starts on a hill. I start on a hill, and I'm like, I'm just gonna munch on my goodies
as you go,
as I walk up the hill. And when I get to the top, I'm just gonna jog.
And so that's the 22K mark we're at right now. A lot of people, when you hear them doing marathons, I've rode a marathon, but I've never actually ran a marathon, so it's a different experience. They talk about that last 10K, or that last lap, for example. Talking about that, talking about that, mainly the first hill, then the last lap, because that was going to be your last hill, which was your kind of, first of all, knowing it was the last lap, but two, hitting that hill for the fourth time after 33 kilometers. The last lap, I think after the halfway point, it's all mental, meaning your body's probably not going to hurt anymore for the most part. I understand.
It's just going to hurt for a long time. So keep in mind, because my marathon time was so long, and the way that I did it, the last 2 laps took me like 3 hours. So that last hill, I walked up the hill, and I kept on telling myself I'm going to try to run to that point, but actually that was too hard. A visible point, I'm going to run to that bus stop.
Yes.
That was too hard. So instead what I did was, I'm going to give myself a smaller goal or even, honestly, it wasn't even a goal, it was just a preoccupation. And what I did was, of course, I was listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
But I just counted my steps.
So like run for 10 steps, walk for 10 steps kind of thing?
Well, I mean, it was more of a shuffle,
rhythm. Yeah,
shuffle run. And I think I would usually do about 200 to 300 steps. And then I would walk for a little bit. But it got to the point where walking was harder than running. Because when I was walking, I was limping.
Yes.
You know, it's if you've never ran a marathon, it's difficult to explain how devastating it is on your muscles. They just start cramping up, and not really a solid cramp, but they're just tired.
Yeah.
So I would just count the steps and try to really think about the podcast. I would look at the section of sidewalk or pavement in front of me, and then just
shift them off.
I would not look ahead. That's discouraging. I would look right in front of me.
This is brilliant, Cory. The reason I'm saying that is you can see the smile on my face right now. When we talk about goals, we always say have that big goal out in the distance and then chip away at the ones in between.
Yeah.
And you're living it during that and showing the massive benefit of, yes, of course, have that big, sometimes scary, in this situation, definitely scary goal at the end.
Yeah.
But on the way, hey, let's build some bridges on the way. Let's have some smaller goals on the way. And this is literally that in practice in a very squeezed time frame of, a couple of hours.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, and shows you the benefit of doing that, which is awesome to see. So you survived. Afterwards, we all saw the picture of you in the pool, which I loved personally. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I assume you spent quite a while there.
I did.
Good night's sleep last night. We're recovering today.
Yeah.
We've discussed a brief plan of recovery for this week.
Yeah.
What's your kind of wrap up afterthoughts about the whole process, and the pre versus post feeling, as it were?
Okay. Two things. I was really surprised how emotional I got. I mean, you've seen people finish marathons and they dissolve in tears. Everybody's cheering. It's a big sponsored event. That's fantastic. I think a part of the reason they're so emotional possibly is because their body is so spent. And so for the last 20 minutes, I really fought being emotional, being teary-eyed, and just, I don't know, even sobbing. It sounds kind of embarrassing to say, but just being honest with you. So, I mean, I would, just kind of try to compose and go. And when I saw that when I saw it tick over so that I'd completed it, it was a lifelong goal that was accomplished. So if I could just say, it sounds cliche, but don't be afraid to dream big. Don't be afraid. If there's something that you really want to do but you're scared of doing, just do it. Which all it's tight, and again, this sounds cliche, you just start. The fact of the matter is, I've been doing CrossFit for 3.5 years. I've been training in running long distance since January. Started out doing a mile run, and then just doing that in the cold, in the snow. And I knew in my heart that I could do the marathon. It wasn't a question. There wasn't a doubt that I could do it anymore. It was just the fact of if I was mentally strong enough to deal with the pain and just finish it. And so don't be ruled by fear.
I can't think of a better way to finish than that. What a brilliant. Thank you very much for your time and your thoughts on that, Cory.
Yeah,
thank you for coming in to do some recovery.
Absolutely.
We're going to work on that this week.
Yep.
Thank you for this. I think people are going to get a lot of value out of this, and because everyone's going to want to know your thoughts.
Sure.
So here we go. Thank you, sir.
Yep.